But it's just, you just wake up in Uganda and you just look across and it's just mountain ranges and you're like, how the hell did I get here? Yeah. The temperature is beautiful, but it's one of those, when it rains, all the Wi-Fi, electricity would turn off.
Yeah.
They're just like, but when it rained, it rained. It was not like some of the stuff we get in Cardiff, like a bit of drizzle. Yeah. It rained.
You dialed in there, bro. Listen to that, you. You enjoy it?
That's good. Is it you singing?
No chance. Mate, if that's me singing, I wouldn't be doing this. Jake, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. It's nice to be back. It's cooler in here today than it was in the last podcast, but it's nice.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. After we did that one with Fionn, I was like, it's a lot of things that you talk about. I like. You're not the average Joe, I'd say. You speak what you think and what you believe in, and that resonates with me a lot, man. You're very comfortable in being different in a positive way. Do you know what I mean? It's a great saying that David Goggins says. He goes, the more misunderstood you are from others, you're more understood by yourself. And when I heard that, and the way you were speaking about, your own adversities, I was like, oh, this is the type of guy. They're the real people, So thank you for coming on, bro.
No, thank you. It's like I said, I like to get the whole story out because it's quite important, especially in the running world at the minute. And especially in other sports as well, because the injury rate, I mean, in every sport is nuts. Unless you watch the enhanced games, and that's just a whole different story.
Well, I'm interested. Obviously, I know the bit of a backstory on you. The listeners don't. So, from your background, man, English born?
Well, I was born in Bermuda.
Oh, there we go. We're way off already. And then you went overseas. Didn't you?
I grew up in Hong Kong.
There you go. Let's break it. You tell the story, bro.
So I was born in Bermuda. My parents got married out there.
Why did they go to Bermuda?
Tax haven. I think a bit of that, but they both were. It was nuts. So they didn't know each other. They both lived in England, grew up in England, and then both. I don't know. I think around the same sort of time moved to Bermuda. Still didn't know each other. Worked for the same company, and then met through that. Got married in Bermuda. Had a beach wedding, nice. Completely different to the traditional weddings here. I was born, then we went to Hong Kong in 2000, because both their companies again moved to Hong Kong. Both my sisters were born out there. Yeah. And then we came back to England in 2014, because it was a perfect time, because I was starting A-levels. My middle sister was starting GCSEs and youngest starting new school, so it was like the perfect time because you don't like taking kids out when they're like halfway through GCSEs or something. It's like almost forbidden or something, isn't it? Because all the syllabus is sort of different and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. So that was kind of the start, and then you slowly but surely worked your way back after Hong Kong back to the UK.
Yes, like literally 2014 came straight over because every year we would come to England anyway to see the family because all our parent families here. So it was different living 12-hour flight just to see your family was quite insane.
Nice, mate. Nice. So, a little bit of a backstory about yourself. Though, obviously, a runner sponsored by Nike.
Yes.
And your team that you're currently working
is called the NN Running Team.
NN Running Team.
Yeah.
And where are they based?
NN Running Team. So NN's a Dutch company.
Nice.
So they are in this little place in Netherlands called Nijmegen. So it's about an hour and a half from Amsterdam. Netherlands not that big, so it's actually quite easy to get around. But then they have athletes who are in Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya. So I went to Uganda in 2022 for some training.
So they sent you out there to go, wow.
And train with the best of the best.
But what was that experience like?
Uganda, I still think it's the most beautiful country I've ever been to. Yeah. It was crazy because we went to, you have to fly to Kampala, which is the capital city. And it's the first time I've ever been to altitude. I don't know if you've been to altitude, but when you go skiing, I guess it's a bit different, but you not really think about it, but there's less oxygen in the air. So the difference in training and altitude is completely different to what we train at sea level. Yeah. And we get to Kampala and everything's just crazy, but that's the capital city. And then the next day we had to only drive it was only 200 miles, but it took 12 hours because there's no road system in Uganda.
So how are you getting it's just what kind of hoping for the best. This path will do.
So it's like a main road, but there's like everyone's just going. Yeah, it was crazy, and like you don't have any signal on your phone because you have to buy their SIM cards and everything. And then we get to this place on top of a mountain, 2,500 meters up, called Kapchora.
Yeah.
And I was the only white guy like in the whole town, whatever. I was training with the most recent 10K Olympic champion.
Wow. What's his name?
Oh my God. I've just had a mind blank.
Well, it'll come back to you. I've done that many times.
But he,
at the time, he was what?
Cheptegei, sorry.
What's his name?
Cheptegei.
And he was what, the 10K?
So he won a 10K gold at the last Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah. In Paris.
Were you nervous to be in there?
Yeah, I've only seen photos and videos.
Yeah.
And then also another guy, he won the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham and then the World Champs for the marathon. And you just see videos online on social media of them, and then the next minute you're training with them.
Wow.
And it was just surreal. Like, so Cheptegei, he's earned millions and millions of pounds just from race winnings. And he has a house on top of the hill in Kapchora. But once for 5-6 days of the week, he'll go and live in the campsite, the NN campsite. But it is like, the room size is probably like half of this.
Really?
It's just steel door, there's nothing, like there's no toilet system. It's just a hole in the floor because they just want to live as basic as possible. They haven't grown up with like extreme, like everything we have here. And they just wake up at 6:30 a.m. You wait at a random local football pitch. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's like, have you seen videos like 100 Kenyans running together?
Yeah.
But it's 100 Ugandans running together. But then the Ugandans, there's like 10 Olympic gold medalists in that group. Wow. And I'm just running with them.
That's amazing.
And then it's like,
I'd love to see a photo of this.
Oh, it's...
You just...
I don't know why I took it on my phone.
All this pepper and just one little salt. I bet they were like... You obviously being the only white guy there, I bet everyone was like, what? Shocked?
Yeah, because it's in Kenya, it's different because all the Europeans go to Kenya. Like, Kenya's been the go-to place for years and years, whereas Uganda hasn't really been. So I think they were just looking at me like, whoa, like, this is different. I made so many friends out there.
Yeah.
And they all looked after me, which was quite nice because they didn't want to, like, leave me be or anything. And, yeah, my girlfriend came out for 2 weeks, but her mum was not happy. She was coming out traveling her by herself, which was a big ask, big ask, because like she had to do the whole thing by herself. She had no, so when she gets to Kampala, on the flight you don't get signal or whatever. Then from the hotel to Kapchora, so a day of traveling, she didn't have any ways of meshing.
Yeah, so she's hoping with the best.
But then she came with one of the agents, so we linked in to the agents who work with me, came across with her, and we made sure she was traveling with someone. Wow. But still they didn't have any connection. So for 24 hours her mum's out of it, like no one knows where she is, no one knows how she's doing. So you stop halfway for like some lunch, and there's where she gets Wi-Fi and says, "Oh, I'm still here. I'm still here."
There's some character building in that though.
Yeah, she loved it. Like, this was a time when she wasn't doing her current job, so she had more time to come away with me and everything. But it's just, you just wake up in Uganda and you just look across and it's just mountain ranges and you're like, how the hell did I get here? Yeah. The temperature is beautiful, but it's one of those when it rains, all the Wi-Fi electricity would turn off.
Yeah.
But when it rained. It was not like some of the stuff we get in Cardiff, like a bit of drizzle. Yeah. It rained.
What did you learn? Yeah, what was one or two of the biggest learnings you took away from Uganda?
I think it's just how, like, chilled out they actually were. Yeah. Like, I've always been I think that's how I've got to the level I'm at, but you have to be very, very determined, very focused. But, like, these guys would wake up at 6:30, just smiles on their faces the whole time. Go back to the camp. They have no hardly any electricity. They have like a TV and they'll have some VPN to watch the Premier League and stuff, and they're loving it. But they sit down after training, just coffee, banana, and like someone's walking around with pieces of bread, and they're just taking like loaves of bread, and they're just sitting there chatting, playing Uganda music, just literally chilling. Like, and they are the happiest people I've ever met. Yeah. And they have, compared to what we have, like nothing. PlayStation, all that stuff, they are so much happier than a lot of Brits are.
It's interesting you say that, Jay, because there's a study that the percent, like I think the UK, I think it's America, Australia, and UK. We sit around like the top 3 for places who suffer with the highest anxiety and levels of loneliness. And the places where like the anxiety levels are really low are like little villages in like a tribal country, or like somewhere like Africa, like this and the other. And what they've identified is that in those villages, so if someone's suffering or someone's not well, the whole village gets together and supports them. Like you just said, they'll sit there, play games, sing songs, and eat some bread together. Where in our country we have so much, but we're more of a lonely wolf in certain aspects. So there's something in that we should take. That's why community is so big and things like that. But I don't want to kind of go down that path. But what I want to ask you is,
what's up, guys? This podcast is brought to you by UTest. UTest provides clinically accurate, rapid home testing kits for a variety of medical conditions and deficiencies. Designed for convenience, these tests deliver results in just 5 minutes, eliminating the need to wait days or weeks for lab results. The range includes tests for prostate PSA levels, bowel cancer screening, onset menopause to fertility, and more. All tests are available with the next day delivery at www.utest.co.uk. Use the code 0010 for 10% off your order. Now, let's go back to the episode.
What makes these guys so good if their setup is really designed for failure?
So the first thing is the altitude.
Yeah.
So in order for all the Europeans to compete against these guys, we do have to go to their country to train with. And I just had a good chat with my coach about this. And my coach is Gavin Pavey. His wife is Jo Pavey. She went to 5 Olympic Games. So as a British girl, that was insane.
Yeah, wow. I think the one that was pregnant.
Yes. Yeah. So she was pregnant, and then 10 months after being pregnant, she won European gold at age 42.
Wow.
Or 41. It was insane.
That's crazy alone, mate.
Yes. Everyone, like, she came
what a beast.
Second at Sports Personality one year.
Really?
I think I forgot, might have been behind Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah. It was like the year he won 7 or something. I think it was 2014. So
what a warrior.
Yeah, she's really cool, and like she could talk to me most days anyway.
Really? Where is she based?
Devon. So that's why I go back. So every 3-4 weeks I go back to Devon just to go train with them.
Nice, man.
But with these Africans, like, so they are at high altitude the whole time. High altitude, you increase your, I think it's like hemoglobin levels, your red blood cells. So when you come down to sea level, you have more oxygenated blood going around your body. So, when we start to tire, they will tire later because more oxygen is getting around their body. And a lot of people think, and I spoke to my coach about this, but say if I went to altitude training for 3 weeks a year, I won't really see the benefit. Like, you have to go for a significant time, but just not 1 year, like year on year on year on. So my coach and Joe, they went for years and years. They would spend 6 months almost at altitude, 6 months down for where they compete, and then go back, and they just continuously do that. And I think as well, like, you see their diet compared to ours. Like, we have so much. Well, it's so easy. You could just, like, right now, you could go outside and get, like, you could get
a Subway.
You could get absolutely anything. Yeah. Whereas these guys are eating so fresh. Yeah. They're like they're just so healthy, and I think as well, it's like that determination. Like, they are just. But even whenever you go there, like, if they're a farmer, if they're just doing anything, they want to succeed to the best level. Whereas you go, I don't want to be rude to a lot of Brits, but a lot of Brits you meet just can't be arsed almost. Yeah. Whereas not one person in Uganda I met, like, they could be the 200th best runner in that little place I went to, and still they'll be fighting for everything.
Yeah, it's like we complain like when the European like when people come over, like the Polish and this and that, complain, they're taking our jobs. It's like, never wanted to do that fucking job anyway. Like, they're willing to pull their sleeves up and get into it, even regardless of what it is. So I think, like you said, it's a bit of a grit, innit? A bit of a... We all need a bit of humbling at times and stuff like that. But, man, regarding all of the things you've achieved, what would you say the top 2 are for you? Or 3?
I think, like, this year's been a very good year just because of coming back from Red S. Like, we'll talk about it anyway. But that's probably my biggest ever thing right now because...
Overcoming
no, like, it's one of those where my blood levels, like, I'm doing a blood test in a couple of weeks. My bloods are much better in the healthy ranges. But, of course, like everything, they can be better.
Yeah.
But I've now, I think mentally I'm almost over that and stuff like that. But it's taken, like, 2 years to overcome it. And not once, like, for the first... Basically, the year I had it, or the year after I had it, I did not think I would ever get back to even achieving what I have achieved already this year. And then the second one would be, I probably still think World Half Marathon Champs in 2020.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because there was nothing on because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I ran 60:31 for the half, and came 18th in the world, which was pretty cool. But then it's
That's
one
amazing,
of those...
man.
I'm like starting to go up and up the board because people are getting done for drugs. Some of the Africans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are they getting popped for?
So it's one of those in Kenya. They were talking. You could go to a local pharmacy and they're giving you EPO, like they're just selling it.
But that's what when you were talking about altitude training, your oxygen levels are
yes.
So you're like lactic acid delays.
Yes.
But EPO is essentially like if you're doing that and
EPO, it's a different level. But you see some of the times they're running nowadays, like. The world record, like, he's a Ugandan, and I have so much... I love him to pieces, but he's run 56 minutes for a half marathon. 56 minutes. And, like, because I've met him in Uganda, I'm quite biased. I'm such a big fan of his. But the guy who ran 57.5 minutes has just been done for drugs, and this guy's a minute quicker. Like...
That's the difference between...
But then it's one of those guys who's done for drugs at 57.5 minutes for the half. So he's at altitude and taking EPO testosterone. Like, his blood must have been insane.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy, innit? Like, just... EPO is because that's what Lance Armstrong did, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a mad scandal, isn't it? You watch the doco on that?
Yeah.
It's class, isn't it?
I love it.
Have you seen... what was that other one?
Movie or no?
No, it's not that. There's the one about the team of Lance Armstrong. I watched this documentary thing. And then I watched... is it Icarus? Have you seen Icarus? This is a different one again. But watch that. You'll go in the rabbit hole of like this because it's a guy who just wants to just see how good he could get at cycling, and then he bumps into this guy who I believe he did like the whole Russian. He was like the
yeah.
And he just kind of he got in trouble, and then he went over to America and he was in hideout for a while because the Russians were after him. So get into Icarus, I believe it's called. So you said you did the half in 60...
And 60 minutes and 31 seconds.
60 minutes?
Yeah.
Fuck me, man.
Yeah.
That is... What's that a minute? What's a K? What would that be a K?
It's like 2:52, 2:53.
And where's your heart rate sitting at around this?
So back then, because I started struggling a little bit with food, but I didn't really realise it, my heart rate was quite a bit lower. So I couldn't actually get it as high because if you're not giving your fuel in your body, all your body's breaking down, so your heart can't physically pump everything to the level it needs almost. So my heart rate was actually lower, whereas now my heart rate's higher and I can sustain it higher for a longer period of time. So, for example, I won Bath Half this year and my average heart rate for 62 minutes of running was 182 beats. Wow. Like average, like bang, bang, bang. And then I ran London Marathon this year and my average heart rate for 2 hours and 11 minutes was 178, 179. So it's like, it's a high level for a long chunk of time.
You know when you're running... And I'm just a loner when I listen to this because there's difference when I'm playing rugby, when I'm doing other sports, it's totally different. But like when you're running, when you're sitting at that heart rate and the pace you're going, do you ever hit like a wall and you're like, right, come on?
London sort of came like that. Last, like I said to my coach, I was like 39k fit. I just didn't have the legs in the last 3k. And my heart rate was like in the 1.8 high, low, just below 190, and my pace had dropped 20 seconds a K, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And that's the first time I'm like, whoa, my legs are gone. But that could just be because it was a bit warmer this year I'm still learning about the fuel stations and everything. So it could be if I didn't take enough fuel during the race, but it can be a lot of things. But then when it's 20 degrees and we've been living in the UK winter, like how do you practice the last 3K? We just got a bit unlucky. Yeah. Whereas now, if I had raced a marathon in 3 weeks' time, because we've had a month of training in this heat, you're more used to it. It's little things like that.
Yeah, that's so true. It's interesting, even like when World Cups happen or like the Olympics, and they do it in a really hot country, and everyone who's from like a winter or colder country, they see the change, the impacts are massive.
Well, I see like times in the marathon are actually faster in the autumn months because, especially in Europe, we are going through a whole season of summer training now. So we're training at the heat, and then it comes to a cooler temperature in the autumn. Yeah, you've built up more hemoglobin because of the heat training in your body. So you're going into it in a fit state. Whereas when you go from the winter into a hot marathon, it's actually harder because your body's not used to it. So if I told you to run in 6-7 degrees, you might be like, oh, that's a bit chilly, but it won't affect you. Whereas if you train in 6-7 degrees for 3-4 months and I told you have to run in 20 degrees, you'd be like, oh, that's a struggle.
Yeah. I remember when I came over to Australia when I was younger, from like the winter, you're straight into there where there was like 32 degrees. And I was like, just that heat on me all the time. I was just gassed everywhere, you know, and you don't understand the importance of fueling. Like, because you can get away with it in the winters over here.
Oh, yeah.
Hydration. No, over there, you need to hydrate. If you don't, you cramp up. I never experienced cramp until I went over there.
Really?
Fuck. But, I'm sidetracked a bit. But, you know, regarding being sponsored by Nike, is there certain expectations that they require you? Have you got to wear certain clothing? Or do you like the merch, obviously?
So I'm a massive fan of the clothing. You do have to wear Nike, like, the whole time. So if it is, like, for example, I don't think this brand does sporting gear, but like when it comes to like races, so because I'm sponsored by NN Nike, so on the road I have to wear the NN vest, so it's like a white and like an orange flower on it basically, and then on the track and on the cross country I have to wear the Nike vest. With Nike you have to complete 6 like quite big races, so it couldn't be a park run for example, but like it has to be 6 quite big races, but they do take into consideration, because I'm like in a quite unique position where I do also have a team. So when I did Bath and London, they were 2 big races, and of course I would have worn Nike, but because I have to wear NN because it's my team, they would have been like, okay, fair, he's doing these 2 big races. Yeah, exactly. So like for example, in 2 weeks' time, I have the British 10K champs. Of course I want to wear the Nike vest, but I actually have to wear my British team vest. So it's I run for Pontypridd.
Nice, mate.
And I have to wear that vest. And again, they're in the situation where, okay, like I'll wear the Nike shorts, for example, and they'll be like, okay, he would wear the Nike kit, but because it's at a British champs, like in British, you just have to wear your club vest. Yeah. So it's just little instances like that. Yeah. And so I need to find a race where I can actually just wear the Nike kit, but it's always different. Like I'm always going to a British champs race, but then in early July, I'm actually doing just a track race, nothing to do with British champs, so I'll wear the Nike vest then. Yeah. So I have obligations. I have to finish like 6 races, but then you get like, you get bonus fees, you get appearance fees and everything. So like I was saying before to you a few weeks back, like if I get injured, that period I was injured all through end of 22-23, I won't make any appearance fees or make any bonuses because I'm not racing. Yeah. So if you're injured for a year or 2 years, okay, you can live off your base phase, but with running, most of the money is from the appearance fees in the winnings.
So you can't afford to get.
You can't. I can't afford to get injured again.
Vicious cycle, man.
That's the thing. It's like when it comes to someone who's just having a 9-to-5 job, I think anyway, they do tend to get bonuses at the end of the year, no matter if they miss 10 days off sick or something, they will get a bonus. Whereas for runners, if you're injured, you're done.
Yeah. It's mad though, from the outside in, people like think, oh, you know, you're living the dream, you're this and the other. I don't think they realise how much you sacrifice. It's a fucking tough sport.
Yeah, it's it's boring. Like I don't do much else, and
you got to be okay with being. You got to be okay in doing reps all the time, don't you? You got to be okay doing that.
Yeah. So like for example, Friday I went out with mates and we played darts, and that was such good fun. But during the day, normally my job is to run or cross train in the morning, come home, eat, sleep, watch Netflix, go back out and train. So I'm doing, like last week I did 17.5 hours of training. I did 102 miles of running, 3 hours 45 minutes on the elliptical, and 3 hours in the gym, just of gym work. So like you're doing nearly like doing 18 hours of training a week, which is nearly 2.5 hours a day. Just bang, bang, bang. So but then you need the recovery as well. And it does tend to get a bit boring. Like, my girlfriend works from home, so it's nice I can speak to her. But when she goes into work, I'm literally speaking to no one. So I call my parents a lot because I'm like, 100%. I just need to speak to someone.
Yeah. That must be tough because I'm an extrovert. I love my own time, but I get off on people's energy as well when I'm with people. So training alone for me is good to an extent, but then after a while I'm like, right, I need a social fix.
Yeah. So for example, I try and meet someone to run with every single day. Yeah. Just because everyone has like easy runs. It's quite hard during the summer because there's a lot of my mates run over the short distance because I'm a long distance guy. We don't really, our sessions don't work. It's like a back and forward. Your sessions just don't really sync. So, but then on the easy days, we all have easy running anyway. But then that's why I kind of look forward to things. So for example, with that Castles relay this weekend, I have another race the following week. I look forward to the things coming up. And so I'm like, okay, now I have to recover because I'm looking forward to these things. Yeah. That's how I think.
It's amazing. It's amazing, man. It's so cool, and it's such a sport where you gotta just be okay with just repetition. And that's all I think about all the time with runners. You gotta be dialed in, you know? It's cool. Man, I wanna ask you as well, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, but for myself, I was trying to get my head around it, and the listeners today.
Hey everyone, it's Ollie Olds here with a quick word from our incredible sponsor, Pitch Roofer. You know, your home is your castle, and nothing protects that castle better than a solid, reliable roof. That's where Pitch Roofer comes in. They're not just building roofs, they're building trust, community, and peace of mind. Pitch Roofer has been serving our local community for years, and what really sets them apart is their commitment to giving back, from supporting local sport teams to donating to charities. They're making a real difference beyond roofing. Together, we are stronger. Now, if your roof is looking a little worse for wear, or you are thinking it might be time for a full replacement, Pitch Roofer has got you covered with top quality solutions tailored to protect your home and boost that curb appeal. Why should you choose Pitch Roofer? Let me break it down for you. Experienced professionals. These guys know this stuff with years of expertise in residential roofing. Affordable rates, competitive pricing with no hidden costs, high quality materials, durable weather resistant products that stand the test of time. Free inspections, get the condition of your roof checked at no cost. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. They're not happy until you are. So whether it's a repair, a replacement, or you just want a peace of mind your roof is in good conditions, give Pitch Roofer a call on 01656 470016. A text message to 07540 443345 or email gerald@pitchroofer.co.uk. Pitch Roofer, building more than roofs, building a stronger community. Now, back to the show.
So you got something called Red S. Now explain that as much as possible, please.
Red S is known as relative energy deficiency in sport. So the basic way I can explain it is, so for example, that like I said to you, if you go for a 10-mile run and the normal person on average burns 100 calories for every mile, just say. Yeah. So you're burning 1,000 calories, and the normal man burns, if just at rest, if you didn't really move, you just walked around the house and stuff, you burn, say, these are just like averages, 2,000 calories. So you're burning 3,000 calories that day. And if a lot of people who, I know there's a rising obesity rate in the UK and everything, and they say, okay, I'll eat 500 calories less a day, you will start to lose weight. But if you are a normal weight or quite lean or a runner or anything, and you start to say burn 3,000 calories a day and eat 2,000 to 2,500 calories, okay, the first few days you'll lose weight. But if you kept going like that for years, for quite a few years, you won't only just lose weight, but everything else will diminish. So I said to you, after Uganda, I was in Uganda, I got down to 51 kilos. As a 23-year-old, 51 kilos, my cheeks were in.
And what are you? How tall are you? 5'5"?
5'8".
Yeah.
So I'm not even
It's
tallest,
light.
but 51.
Yeah, but that's still light.
But
man.
for a 23-year-old is, yeah. I got a buzz out of it as well when I was really light. Like I weighed myself every single day and I wanted to lose weight and weight. And yeah, so Red S is a bit of a horrible thing. It's easier to identify when you're a girl. So if you start missing your period, for example, you will have Red S. Especially like if someone who doesn't do sport, for example, starts missing their period, that will be down to maybe what's it called, a food disorder, for example. Whereas those athletes who are training 7 days a week and missing their periods, they are more deemed into Red S.
Yeah.
But then for males, it's a lot different because we don't have periods. We can't really notice when we're struggling with it. So when I came back from Uganda and found out I was that light because I could barely run, I got down to, I did some blood tests and my testosterone was 4. And at the time, women's testosterone had to be below 5. So technically, I could have competed in the women's. And it's a bit of I had anemia and everything like that. I couldn't sleep. I went days like, I was never horrible to anyone, but I just wasn't there. Yeah. I never wanted to hang out with friends. My daily routine would be literally I could do 10, 12 miles in the morning, go for an hour walk. I wouldn't eat until midday. So I had a rule where I would not eat till midday. I would then only drink a litre of water, no matter what the temperature was, because water weight, if you drink more water during the night, it's not weight, but you'll gather more water in your body, so the scales will show a higher number than normal, but it's not relative.
So if you drink water at night before bed, essentially, it's what then when you get up, it's not weight, it's just
yes. But my head was so focused on that number.
Wow.
So I'd weigh myself every day. So it got to a phase where I was making myself so dehydrated. My hands. Have you ever had it on a hot day? Your hands go like crumbly, and that's that. Like the skin starts to come off. Yeah, what's that? That's thing. You know.
Oh yeah. So when you're in the bath for so long, you get that type of thing.
Yeah, and really? I had that the whole time. My skin was coming off, and the worst thing is like you start to get like spots on your body and everything because your body's just not healthy.
The nutrients are not there.
And my whole body, like even in the summer, I was not tanning or anything. I was very just pale in the face because of the low anemia. I lost loads of friends. I just wasn't in the right headspace. I went away with my parents. I walked out of 3 restaurants because the food portions were a bit bigger than normal.
She just triggered you.
Just every little thing triggered me. Because I just wanted to be as light as possible. And if I saw the scale and saw the number a bit higher the day before, I would prevent myself. I would try and eat less and less.
Wow.
So yeah, with Red S, it's a bit of a bummer because not many men actually know when they have it. And in the sporting world, not many runners have had Red S and come out the other side in a good way.
So if you've got Red S as a male, common signs, like top 2 common signs, what would they be?
So I think it's a feeling of fatigue. So if you wake up in the morning, like in the morning, you wake up and you feel like, I don't want to get up. But if you're constantly tired and fatigued, or then if you look at the other way, if you're waking up during the night, but not for any reason, like if you need to go to the toilet, fair. But if you're waking up during the night and you're not being able to sleep, that's another big one. Or if you see yourself very white and pale, I think because if you're not eating enough, a lot of people will have anemia. I don't want to be rude, but if you see a lot of people, girls or boys with food disorders, they tend to be more pale because the iron isn't there. And in order for iron, I know you have to eat red meats, take pills and stuff, but essentially in order for iron levels to go up, you need more vitamin D. You just need to eat more.
Yeah.
So you will see, like, I could guarantee if you went on to search up people with food disorders, they would be very pale. So that's a big thing because I went very, very pale. And I normally tan. I would say I'm quite a tan person. Yeah. And like coming from Hong Kong, like, because it's a hot country and everything, and then me being pale, I was like, what the hell is going on? And you're just not there for anyone. You're not supportive or anything. And you just can't, right? Like, it got to a phase where I had no power. So, for example, I'm not even the quickest over the short distances, but because I was so lightweight, even a bit of wind would affect me, or I just could not have that extra gear.
Yeah.
So And the biggest thing was your heart rate. In Uganda, I remember my max heart rate was 170. I can now, my average heart rate for a London Marathon was 178. So my average heart rate for a marathon was higher than what I could actually get my max heart rate to when I was struggling.
Wow.
It's stuff like that.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what was the breaking point? I got to take control of this. What was that?
It happened in 2022. So I raced against Mafara in a half marathon. I came third to him because at 10 miles he decided to kick away.
Wow.
So that was a big half. It's a half marathon in London. And yeah, I was leading him and everything. I tried to break him and everything, but he just got me at the end. But after that literally that day, I started running again for 2 weeks and I was like, my foot's not feeling too good. 2 weeks later, I was starting a long run and my foot just snapped. And it had a stress fracture in my top of my foot and it just ballooned up, like bruised and everything. But because I was so addicted to exercise, I started doing 20 hours of cross training in the gym with a stress fracture in my foot. And, stress fractures normally take 2 to 3 months to heal. It took me an extra month because I was not eating enough. So my body didn't have the nutrients to actually heal. So the physio I was speaking to at the point of time said, something's not right. I was trying to stay race weight in terms, while being injured. And my body took longer to heal. I then came back, and then at the end of that year, I think I mentioned before, I went on a night out, and all my mates, actually, instead of having a good time, came up to me and said, look, Jake, we need to sort something out. And my girlfriend, I didn't really realise, but she'd really opened up to me. Because she keeps her thoughts to herself, but I think at that time she was nearly the point of breaking.
Yeah.
And she said, she almost said to me, I need to get help. I need to speak to someone, because she didn't know how long she could literally just try and keep me going. Wow. And I was like, I could lose my best mates, I could lose my girlfriend because I'm not being a normal person. And so at the start of 2023. I got back into running, but then after a month and a half, I wasn't even on much mileage. I had a stress fracture in my lower back. And I remember I was in Manchester with the sports doctor and I had 2 bags on and I just had a MRI scan on my back. And the result showed, he was like, I'm so sorry, Jake, you have another stress fracture. And I just burst into tears in Manchester, considering I had to then have 2 bags, get put onto crutches again, travel from Manchester on the Swansea train down to Cardiff.
That one shuttle.
It's
a shit thing. Why have they got one carriage?
I know. And I was just, the whole journey, I just cried because I was like, how have I got a stress fracture in my back when I've done no impact training? Everything else is on the elliptical, which is low impact. But because I'd spent 2 years under fueling, getting so light, not eating enough, my back just cracked. And the back, okay, it can come from high impact stuff, but it is more to do with under fueling, especially in that area, because I know you're going upwards and stuff, but with that area, your back's supposed to be really strong.
100%.
And yeah, so I just needed to get help. So I moved back home with my parents because they live in Seaton, and I just needed as much help as possible. I spoke to this woman called Pippa Wolven, who is head of Project Red S on Instagram, and she had Red S, and for years, and she actually overcame it and represented Britain again. But she's the only unique person I've seen. Whereas I've read 10, 12. Not many men have come out with it, but a lot more women have. But so I've read 5 different men who have struggled with Red S. They have never got back to even close to the level they were previous. Wow. Because I think they had the mentality where, for example, I think he's called Jake Riley. He came 6th at the Olympic Games for America in the marathon in 2016. He then struggled with Red S in 2018 and never made a cut. Tried to make a comeback and never got back. Yeah. But with people with Red S, you can see you think they look normal when they do have Red S, but they actually don't. And then when they actually look normal, they actually look quite big, but they're actually a normal person. But because you associate them with being so skinny before, and that was their normal, when they're at normal weight now, you're like, oh, they're quite fat, but they're not. But they're not.
Wow.
So I'm now trying to make a comeback, and it's I was saying to you, I got a lot of stuff on social media saying I'm washed, I'm done and everything.
Yeah.
And then this year, like, to win Bath Half, I ran the fastest time at road relays for a 5K in Britain. And then come 4th Brit, 16th overall at the London Marathon on, I'd say it was quite a hot day, was great. And I know, like, if you look at me last year, like, the fitness I've gained. So in 2023, for example, after my stress fractures, I ran 14:44 for the 5K. A year later, I ran 13:46.
Wow. So it's proof there that you're coming back, man. You're there.
Yeah, and then next year, next year, I want to go 13:20. So it's like I'm making these small improvements.
Yeah.
But another thing I found was when I signed with Nike, I made such big jumps in fitness. And
What do you think it was that changed? Just that belief?
Yeah, and that it was probably down to like lose. It's a horrible thing. Like, if someone said to me, "Look, I want to get as fit as possible in 6 months' time," I would almost say, "Okay, run, go for a walk, run, and almost lose a bit of weight."
Yeah.
But with the caution of you will never run again. Like, you will be broken if that's what you want, which I would say 99.9% of people should never ever do. But that one person's like, you know what? I want to do one more race. You can achieve. It is possible, and it's a horrible, horrible thing because it goes against everything I say. But in terms of, if you want a longevity in the sport, if you want to spend 20 years being happy, that was another thing. I was never happy when I didn't eat. But if you want to spend happy, seeing results come faster and faster, then that is the way forward. And like this year, I ran 2:11 for the marathon, and my coach said to me, we could have run 2:10, 2:09 if we started training, going up to 40, 50 miles 3 months earlier, but we couldn't. Yeah. We just physically couldn't. So that's why we had to train. When I started coming back, my coach said, we have to train like a 10-year-old girl. We have to be so cautious. Like, it was like 3 days a week of 30 minutes of cross training. That's it for the first couple of weeks. Like, it had to be so little because I needed my body to not break. And the last 2 years, I've picked up no niggles. I'm just getting better and better.
Nice, man.
It's one of those, it's like, okay, maybe it would be nice to break 2:11, but that means you just put, you just put more risk. It's like the risk versus reward. Whereas, okay, I haven't actually put that many risks at the minute, but my rewards are starting to build up.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because for most people, athletes is how can we do more? How can we do this? How can we do that? Right? But then this is the biggest challenge. Like, how can you do nothing?
Yeah.
Like, stop.
It was tough.
That's harder than bloody running.
It was. So I went back home and my coach said to me, you need 5 weeks. So in 2023, so when I had the stress fracture in my back, 5 weeks of doing nothing and telling a runner who trains, like I said, 18 hours a week to do nothing. That was tough. I went through a bit of like, not binge eating, but I would eat a lot of food in one given time. I think it was more to like show myself if I could do it. But if you eat everything in one sitting, you actually feel dreadful.
Yeah.
And there's no need to. But because I think mine was so, because I was allowing myself to eat, and because I didn't allow myself to eat for years, you give your body some time to eat. But it was little things, like it took me a while, like I still wasn't eating that much for a bit because my stomach had actually shrunk. So especially in Uganda, my stomach was so small. If you told me to eat a normal person's food, I actually would have struggled because my stomach. It's like, you know, when gym guys, they go through a phase of in the winter bulking and then shredding. And then they try and eat the amount after shredding. They do tend to struggle a bit, even though they think it'll be so easy because it's a lot of food. It is
stomach shrunken.
Exactly.
It's interesting you say all of that, and even resonates a lot with me when you said about rushing to get back. Like, so when I did my knee the third time, the ACL on the right knee, there was a World Cup coming up, but it was in 6 months. Now, if you do an ACL, a cruciate, it's normally 9 to 12 months recovery, like to change direction. And I was like, I'll get back. And I was trying to get back for the 6 months, and I didn't get back, or 5 months, I believe it was. But when I got back, I re-ruptured it again. Do you know, so the third time I re-ruptured it again, and it got to a stage where I was like, right, I'm done with this sport. I'm mentally, not the sport, I love the sport, but the roller coaster you're on with injuries, the mental load, I was just mentally done. Like, it was like, it was terrible. But the best thing that ever happened to me was walk away for 4 years, and I just started doing triathlons because it's all straight line. And it made me, then when I come back to the sport, I fell in love with it, but a different way of loving it. It wasn't this pressure. It was like, I've got a second chance. I'm just gonna have fun with no pressure. And it's still you're naturally competitive, aren't we? So, but it's like when you take this pressure off yourself, you just you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was so, like I said, I wasn't happy or anything. I was just run. Whereas now, for example, I went to play darts with my mates on Friday. Like, I go whenever my mates want to go out, I'll go out and stuff like that. And I'm actually running better for it because when I found my heart rate's actually all right, because I'm just happy almost.
Yeah. You know, you said once you were a pacer for one race.
Yes.
And you had like a PB.
Yes. So
the pacers were filthy. People will follow you like this dickhead.
So I did. I ran a marathon. So I ran 2:11 flat. So I ran the Olympic time back in 2021. Wow. But that's what 6-7 months after I ran that world half marathon. So I was in disgusting shape. Yeah. I was actually but I was, because I was lightweight and everything. It was. I wasn't running healthy, but you can, like I said, you can get away with it for a couple of years until my body just broke. 2 stress fractures. The blood levels just disgustingly low, but you can do it. And so I ran 2:11, had 1 gel, no water or anything, ran the Olympic time. Wow. But I also paced that year. I also paced the European marathon record. So this guy called Bashir Abdi, he came 2nd at the last Olympics for marathon, 3rd at Tokyo, the one before. So he ran 2:03:30, and I took him to 28k. Wow. So he messaged me personally, said, Jake, I want you there. So there's some videos of his 6 pacers, so it's me and 5 other Africans, and they call me the alpha, because the Africans, some of them can't pace, they will just go off stupidly. Yeah. So I just had to be boys, sit in, stay here now, I'm telling you what to do. And he went on and ran 2:03:30 for the and it's still the European marathon record to the day.
That's amazing, man.
So it's I know, it's one of those, like you've said before, my body's done that, so it can't do it again. But I just need to now do it in a healthy way. Yeah. And I haven't run a PB in over 3 years still, over any distance. And I can't tell you how much I'll cry as soon as I run that first PB, because I've done it with a healthy body.
Oh, man, I'd love to. When that happens, man, I hope to see it.
Yeah.
See it on TV.
But the annoying thing is I've made my PBs already quite hard. So it's still going to take a while.
You seem stubborn enough to get there, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm not giving in until I got a PB.
One of the things you said, and I love, and it resonates so much with me, is when we have stuff happen to us, it can kind of make us go, all right, that's who I am now. That's what I'm defined of, and I'm stuck. Or you go, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. And you said something the other day of on social media, people were giving you're washed up, you're done. You mentioned it just now. But what you did, you won a race. Yeah. And you screenshotted the message.
Oh, so the London Marathon. So some guy there's this running website called Let's Run. So it's all a bunch of arseholes basically just writing stuff. If you've done, you could be Olympic champion, have one bad race, and they'll be oh, he's done, he's dusted. And this one person said, oh, Jake's washed. He will never, I'll be surprised if he ever breaks 2:12. He will never get back to the sport. So I ran 2:11:57. I took a screenshot of it, put on my Instagram, and said, what's next?
You're going to have to send me that, mate. I'm going to have to see that. I'm plugging this up here. That's cool.
And but it was another thing where we were on the bus to the London Marathon, and a Norwegian guy, he's 220, but I think he knows people around. And he says to me before the race, he said, look, Jake, I read everything about, he said, he didn't even know what Red S was before I came out about it, and said, you struggle with it, ABC, this is what happens, your blood is done. And he said to me, Jake, the fact you're here now is actually incredible. He said, I thought you were done. He wasn't being rude or anything. He just said, I genuinely thought, not about my time, but he said, how someone can come back from this is crazy. And then I ran 2:11:57 and showed 4th Brit and showed I'm getting back to my best. He crossed the line. I think he struggled towards the end because a bit hot and stuff, and people knows it was quite a tough marathon. And compared to a Valencia, London Marathon, you're running solo for a lot, whereas in Valencia, you have 30 people with you. And he comes up to me and just gives me a hug and says, I'm so proud of you. And this is a random Norwegian guy who he now understands a whole Red Ass, and I think he coaches people. And he came up to me and said, you've helped me understand that's the biggest thing. Loads of coaches have now come up to me and they're trying to help their athletes who they think might be struggling with it. And they're just saying, look at this guy. If you want to keep in this sport, you have to follow what he is. I'm now 10, 15 kilos heavier than I was. And I'm now running very, very similar I'm not running to the level I was, because before then I had 5-6 years of uninterrupted training until I had those stress fractures, but I was running unhealthy. Whereas now, like a random, like I said, Norwegian guy, even on my Strava, like random Europeans or American guys are messaging me saying thank you so much for your support. And it's like, however, how many people, I can't name names, but how many hundreds of guys have messaged me saying, is this how I think I'm struggling with it, and your stories help me get back into it.
Amazing, man.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show like heavy is almost better.
Yeah,
and
man.
like in terms of longevity, like, okay, yes, if you were 3-4 kilos lighter, you probably would run faster over a half marathon, but it's the consequences. Like, you might end up having 2 less years, 3 less years. And it's that thing called race weight. You know, they say like you want to be as light as possible, whereas I've now found my race weight is whatever I am now, because I've spent the last 2 years building, had no injuries, and I'm getting better in every race. So surely this is my race weight. Like, it can't be anything else.
I think you're designed for a lot bigger though, man. Whenever the career ends, like, your message will move on. Like, your message will go further than you've got an exceptional career right now, and it's going to be even bigger. But I mean, this message, that's going to be post career as well, you know?
No, that's the thing, because I want to get running into a bit of a healthier situation. So I said to you, like, there's a lot of doping, like in cycling as well. I know that the drugs.
Have you ever been offered it?
No.
Never been.
I've never seen it or anything like that. I know it's very bad. Like, Kenya's the highest, and then India's second.
Really?
India's really. There was an event a couple of years ago, or last year or something, where at the Indian national champs, they were saying like it was leaks that drug testers were going to competition, and they go into the bathrooms, and there was like 10 out of 150 people competed, because everyone just didn't turn up because they knew they would get drug tested. They go into the toilets, there's syringes everywhere.
Yeah, wow.
It's getting to a level where, like, as horrible it is, I want running to be clean, but sometimes I stand on that start line. And like I said to you, like, at the World Half Marathon Champs, I came 18th, and now I think I might be 16th or 15th, because some people are getting done.
Yeah.
And like my coach, Joe, she's moved up loads of places. Like, she came 4th at one of the Europeans or World Champs. So a Russian beat her, and they've now been done. And so it's like, it throws, you lose a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think they should do like a clean version and a dirty version? Because it'll just separate the two, and you'll be like, well, this is the legit. This is the.
I think that's what, like, you know, the enhanced games
Yeah.
that have gone on. Like, that guy just broke the 50-meter freestyle record or something, and he's huge now.
Really?
But it's there's not many. I think drug testing is now becoming bigger in Kenya, because Kenya is the sole. They are smashing the records for the amount of people who are on drugs right now. But the thing that's annoying me is all the qualifying times to get into the Olympics and World Champs are getting faster, because these guys are running crazy times.
Yeah.
But then a couple of years later, like I said, that 57:30 guy, he ran 2:02, 2:03 for a marathon. So that's an extra guy. So they're going to make the qualifying time faster.
Yeah.
He gets done for cheating. They don't make the time slower. They just keep it the same. And I'm like, so you're expecting us to run these times where the people who've only achieved it have had to take drugs to get it? How does that make sense? Surely you make the time slower and more able for anyone, and it throws you away from taking drugs. It's
100%, man.
that's the thing I'm a bit annoyed about with the running, but yeah, I know I can get there, so that's the aim.
Well, you know, if you got like goals, you like, this is a bit of a goal for me. I want to achieve this.
So I want to win. I want to get to the Olympics. So 2028, that's the aim of just getting there, and then 2032, I want to win a medal.
32 in Brisbane.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
So that could be quite warm.
Yeah.
Well, no, it'll be the winter, because it'll be like August. Is that winter? August, September.
You're going. Yeah, you're going. But it'll still
It'll
be.
be
It'll still be like 26. So, a UK summer, mate. Best day in the UK.
So like that's like I have another 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's like by then I'll still be running. Like, the marathon age is getting older and older every year.
And what is the like prime marathon?
So everyone used to think it was like 28, 32. But you see, for example, in the London Marathon, Kipchoge, who's now 42 years old, ran 2:06.
Wow.
And Abdi Nagayan, Dutch guy from Ethiopia, Somalia, ran 2:04 PB at age 38. So these guys, because of the new shoe technology and because they've kept their bodies in a healthy check, they can run fast. It's like, for example, Ronaldo. I know he might not be as good as he was, but he's now 41, 42, and he's still competing. He wants to go to the next Olympics.
Does he?
Sorry, next World Cup.
World Cup, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's a credit. That's what I think, right? You know, like, after you turn 30, like, when you see guys in great shape after 30, like, they're the real ones. Because early 20s, like, you could flip and eat what you want, and you still got washboard abs. But after 30, it's like, all right, you earned it there. Because your body gets denser and things like that. But Ronaldo's a freak, man. Like,
but that's a good thing with running, because I think there's more people are now finding if you keep your body healthy. So, like, for example, I keep saying I'm like 2-3 years old because my body has changed so much for the better. So I'm now on a longevity. I want to keep running till I'm 40. Like a guy he won the Napoli marathon at age 48 in 2:08 for a marathon, 2:09 for a marathon. Wow. And because he's kept his body just so healthy. The thing is, like, you can achieve, like, run or compete at any level for however age if you keep it in the right way.
Yeah.
Like that, like, I think that's a big thing, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like, so in 2032, I'll be 34, say. I could have another 4 or 5 years after that.
100%. You might kick on and get a PB
exactly,
at 39.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to run a PB for the next 10 years. I want to get quicker and quicker, and then when I'm like 40, run something stupid. Yeah. Like my coach, for example, she won European gold at age 42. Like 42 years old. Yeah. And that was before all the shoe technology, before more S&C programs, before anything. She won a European gold.
I want to ask you, now, your relationship with food, and like you said, you talk about it openly. You've spoken briefly about a year with the Red S. Now, numbers, obviously you see calories, you see, X, Y, and Z on food. Now, I'm just thinking while you're talking, when you're chasing numbers for running and PBs, I know it's a different thing, but if you hit a PB and you never hit that PB for a while off it, are you always, like, pissed off?
Yeah, like, I was. So when I had this back stress fracture, and then I ran my first race, and I saw how, like, it went well. I did great self-run. It actually went well. I ran 48:30 for 10 miles, so it was a good run. But I saw how far off I still was off my times, that I was a bit like, oh my God. And then for like 4 or 5 months after, I didn't really make any improvement, because I think, like the normal runner, like when the first year, they improve so much because they just start running. You run twice a week, you will improve. So because I had got back into running, and I think my body was now going through a different, like, okay, this is the training regime.
Yeah.
It was taking its time. And and then this year when I ran Bath Half, I was just in tears, and like I'm now not pissed off, and I know the times will come. And like I said to you, when I run that PB, I'll be the happiest person ever. But in order to do it, I need to do it in my way. Yeah. And I have told myself, like, I spoke to my psychologist about this, like, I have these things now where instead of actual PBs, I say I've now achieved my PB post Red S. So all the times I've run this year are essentially PBs post Red S, and that's how I interpret them. Nice. Because if I say, it's not a PB, I'm just going to be I'll look back and be like, well, I was 10 kilos lighter. Is that the reason? I don't want to think like that. I want to think, okay, this is my new body. Yeah. I'm running these PBs now. How can I get faster? Okay, I need to stay healthy. I need to just increase the training in a healthy way, that 10% rule. Yeah. And the times will come.
Nice, man. It's good, because otherwise you can just slowly slip back into that rabbit hole. And I got told this by a coach once about like a toothpaste analogy. So when someone starts running, and they see, like, they get that instant improvement after 1 or 2 years. Well, like, obviously the better you go, it's like essentially when you're at the start, you've got this whole toothpaste and you can squeeze it on, you see the change. But then when it gets to the 1%, the creme de la creme, you're literally got that toothpaste and you squeeze in a little bit out, and that's the only change you're gonna need and get to that. That's that 1%. And like it's a little change, but at the start you've got this full. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I completely understand that. Yeah. But I think that the big thing is the consistency. It's like that. You just need to. There are some days where it's horrendous. Like, you have to wake up early. You have to go to the gym, you have to cross train, you have to go to gym on a Sunday night to lift some weights when you've done, like yesterday I ran 20 miles in the morning. I had to, then we ran out for food, and then afterwards at 5 p.m. me and girlfriend were just laid in bed and we're like, we actually have to go to the gym and lift heavy weights. And I'm like, that's the last thing I want to be doing. But then I never, like, I had a rest day 4 or 5 weeks ago because I had a wedding the night before, and I couldn't tell you what happened that night because I was that pissed, basically. I was that drunk, but then apart from that, I will never miss a run or never miss a training session, because I know I follow my coach's orders. I know it will get me to that next level. And I think about these athletes, like the guy, Emil Carras, who came 4th at the Olympics for GB, the marathon in Paris. He's my age. And he was on some like 140, 150 miles a week of running. And I'm like, I compare myself to him. I'm like, okay, would he be missing this? I'm like, no, he wouldn't. If I want to get back to it, because the last race I did against him, I actually beat him before, like, I just had these injuries and everything. And I'm like, okay, if I want to beat him again, I look up to him so much. He came 4th Olympics. I'm like, I need to get in this training. Even if it's easy, I need to get this training in and then recover between it.
You've got an amazing mentality, man, and it's good to chase something as well. And I love that, you know. And do you reckon he's having a cheat meal? Do you reckon he's having a day off? And you're like, but what you're doing though, you're just amping yourself up. It's like that message that said you're washed up. It's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking prove you wrong.
Exactly. I think what helped me as well is in terms of the food. Like, of course. So the big thing they said to me, because I spoke to a few people who struggle with Red S, and this is the time I had the 5 weeks off, had to do no training, I had to eat just a normal amount. And one of the best things someone told me is, like, for 2 weeks, just eat whatever you want. He said, like, have Mackies every day. I know it's not the healthiest thing, but just literally get to a place where you're eating enough calories for the day. Yeah. I don't care what it is. And it sounds so unhealthy, but for 1 week, considering because this is for athletes generally, 1 week of eating bad will do bugger all, because we have done years and years of eating clean, of eating normal. So that 1 week to get the calories on board, I don't care if you have 10 loads of chicken nuggets from Mackey's, like, I don't care. And then after that week, I don't even have to tell you, but once you've eaten bad for a week, you want to get back into eating healthier. And I think the biggest thing is, it's like, of course, eat clean, eat well at night, eat well in the morning, eat well at lunch. But if you want, the thing I found is, if you're like, okay, if you're quite, a lot of people with Red S, a lot of runners are quite fussy eaters because they want to eat pasta, right? They know what works for them. And I think what I found is, if I was like, okay, if some person just like chicken nuggets, for example, I'll say just eat chicken nuggets. Just get the calories into your body first, and then we can think about eating a bit cleaner. But that's the main thing. Like, the calories, that's how relative Red S is because it's a lack of calories, and if you're not putting the right calories in you, you'll lose weight. So it's just get enough calories in you to begin with, and then you can then progress.
Love that, man. And you got a hell of a message. I got a lot of admiration for you, bro. Like, you got good energy as well. I love that. And I'm grateful to meet you, but just see your journey, bro. I'm gonna be supporting you from afar.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you said your sister runs.
Yes, so I have 2 sisters. So my young sister is like getting back into it. She's more into the gym now. But my middle sister, so I coach her. And it was just little things. So she ran 2:31 for the marathon in Valencia last year.
Wow.
So I paced the 2:09, 2:10 group to 25k. And then I waited like for 5-10 minutes at the point. So I just stood there with my parents. And then I took her to 41.4k. No, 45k. And she had 700 meters left. And she said, and I was like her water boy. So when she was like, because she wasn't in the elite field, she was just in the normal field. So with the elites, you get your own bottles, but because she wasn't in that level, so she had to use the water, the Lucasade on the side. And because she wanted to run a straight line, she was like, Jake, go get me water. So I had to veer off, go get her the water. Yeah. But I paced her till 600 meters to go, and she says to me with 600 meters to go, Jake, just stay in, I need your help. I'm like, Molly, it's downhill 600 meters. Like, this is your time. Like, you're running a 2:31. This is your time to enjoy it. You don't need me there. And it's little things because she's my sister, I can be a bit more full on with her and tell her I don't want her to go through what I've done. She's not the biggest. She's quite a slight figure anyway, but back in 3 years ago, she won a 20-mile race back home. And normally people look very tired after it's 20 miles. But she was very, very pale in the face. And my first thing was, I think she's low in anemia. And I didn't say that straight away. Low in iron, sorry. She did a blood test. She was vegan. What did it show? Anemia. And, like, I could go on about vegan runners and stuff. And they would probably hate me for saying this. But I have a few runners who I know who are vegan. And I've seen their bloods. And they're not impressive.
Wow.
She then started having pescatarian, so eating fish.
Yeah.
And her bloods got better, but still weren't better. And then there was one day where she did a race and she still, because that's another thing, when your iron levels are lower, the fatigue is settled. You just can't push your body to another level. And she in a race just said, I didn't have that extra gear. So I was like, let's get the bloods again. Her bloods went back to anemia levels. So I'm like, Molly, if you want to make a career out of this running, I'm sorry, but the way you need to start eating meat. So she started eating meat and now her bloods are much better. And they're healthy finally. Of course they can improve. They need to improve a bit. And that's because I know I was never vegan or anything, but because I've been through every injury and seen all these instances, I know exactly. She tells me what hurts or something. I know I'm not physio, but I can tell her exactly what I've done before.
Past experiences,
Exactly.
right? That's the trump card out of
Exactly.
all of them, man. You can have the textbook on it, but you can't beat
Exactly.
experience.
No, that's why I said it's like that. There's a load of physios in London who will go up to my sister or her boyfriend. So I also coach her boyfriend, and he's doing so well at the minute. But one of the physios told him he had like something wrong with his hip or something, and the physio told him he had to run fast, just like 3 times a week, just fast. He does that for a week and it gets worse. And I literally said to him, like, no, I don't really believe this. Like, with my coach as well, who gives me all the advice in the world, I'm like, when you come back from injury, it's slow. You start slow. You don't go fast. And he hasn't been to that sports doctor since. And now he's listened to me. I'm not even a sports doctor. I know I'm not qualified, but I'm going off my own experience. Another thing, when physios tell you, like, you should be doing this session, these sessions. And I say to my sister, like, Molly, I've run 2:11. I ran 72 minutes for the half when I was 16. You want to get to that. You want to run 72 minutes for the half. I know what I had to do that, because I can look back through my Strava. I know what I did to achieve that. Why would a physio who's never broken 80, how are they supposed to tell you what you have to do to achieve that? They have not been in that situation. And that's what really annoys me. And I think people are almost taking the piss with giving out advice, especially there's a lot of influencers out there who just...
Social media, man, is full of them, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's like I can name, like, I'd get cancelled if I did, but it's just not fair. Yeah. And it's like they're trying to give advice on, like, food disorder. Like, I know I don't know too much about food disorders, but anything associated with Red S or anything, I know Pippa Wolfen, who I spoke to, she will have the most advice about it. But, like, I had to go to an RAF camp a few months back to talk to them about Red S, because a lot of the people in the RAF or even in the army struggle with Red S because they're running around with big boots and everything, and then actually not eating enough. Because have you seen, like, the test against in the RAF are absolutely terrible now. It's like on the beep test you have to get above 7.
Is that
or you have to do like 10. It's like 10 press ups or something.
What, to get in?
My cousin was part of the Marine. Is that the one on the water? Is it
Navy?
Navy.
Yeah.
You don't have to swim. You don't have to be able to swim. He said you don't have to be able to swim to go in the Navy.
Shut up.
You're on the sea.
Fuck me.
So the rule they're trying to get more people in, so they've made the test worse.
Yeah.
Level 6 is a walk for the beach. Like,
that's embarrassing, man.
That's what I'm saying. And like these people, so many people struggling with Red S doing these, and they're not actually that fit. So the thing is, when I say Red S, a lot of people think it's just elite athletes, but it is the normal person. Like, you could literally be doing 4 30-minute runs a week, but if you're not eating enough, you could have it. So it's like, that's why people shouldn't associate Red S with elite athletes. It's not. So
it's interesting, man. It's funny you said that. I've got to go do a talk next week with the military. I believe it's the guy who spoke to me is hype in the Marines. So he said there'd be about 200 to 300 people there going to do this talk. Not so much about resilience, because these guys are the king of resilience, or queens, right? But more about just like their belief systems, how they're dealing with triggers, emotions, self-confidence, self-doubt. And you know, men are great at bottling shit up.
Mm.
We both experience this, but it's how we can release that valve. So I'm really pumped to do this talk. But I had heard the thing about the swimming. I heard about they made it the discrepancy to get in. The entry level is fucking. We got these guys trying to save us. Can't swim. But brother, we could go on a tangent then. But I want to say, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
No, thank you so much.
You're the top bloke, man, and I'm excited to see your journey, bro. And keep promoting this.
No, that's my thing. I'm trying to think of ways how I can promote it more, and I think I still need to, like, London went really well, and I said to my girlfriend, like, once I get London out of the way, I'm gonna try and promote it a bit more, because this season now, so I'm doing like some track work, but it's not my like forte, for example. So I do focus on the half marathons, the winter, but everything I do this summer is to get quicker for that.
Nice.
So it's like, this is the time now where I can really try and promote it, really try and show it. So that's why I'm doing these podcasts, trying to do, even on social media, just talking to people about it, I have the time now to push for it.
Good.
And I might as well use it.
Yeah. Well, you know, we have a run club every Thursday, mate. And
Yes.
if you ever want, we might be a bit too fast for you.
What time do you guys set up?
6:15 in the morning.
In the morning, yeah. I'm not sure.
And then we do, you should come for our active recovery days on a Friday. We do a sea dip and a sauna every Friday.
When?
Every Friday morning.
What time?
6:30.
I'll come one time. I promise.
Bro, you'll come. You love it. Absolutely love it, bro. Because we do it, sea, sauna, and
What time are you done by?
Oh, we're out by so sea dip about 6:30. We'll get in the water about 10 minutes in the water because the water's not that cold now. And then
Is it in Bridgend?
Puthcall. So it's just 15-20 minutes away, and then sauna after for half an hour. So you'll be done by 7:30.
Oh, might have to.
And then get on with your day, bro. But it'd be great for your recovery.
No, it would be.
Get all the runners down there.
I know.
But man, what are you grateful for, bro? I ask all my guests this. What are you grateful for?
I think my family, girlfriend, and my family, friends, and stuff. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And my coach and stuff. It's the people around you. Like, I lost respect for everyone because I was so focused on running. And like, you asked me like what changed. It was literally my friends and family telling me. It was nothing else. And the support, like going home and living with my parents for 5 weeks because I knew they would sort me out, or like moving in with my girlfriend, or for example, little triggers get into my head. My girlfriend now plates my food for me because I used to measure on the skating the amount me and her had, the exact same amount. And she said she used to have to like force feed herself to eat more than she wanted because if she saw that I wasn't, if I saw she wasn't eating, I'd be like, oh, I should stop. Whereas now, because that's when I was struggling. Whereas now, so it's little things like she'll make it's just the people you have around you. It's just. It's powerful, like, isn't it? It's like what you said. You go to African countries, the community's all around you. I try to make like a community around me to support me, and that's the big thing.
Love it, man. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much.
I'm grateful, bro, and let's get you in for a sea dip and a sauna. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.